primary reason, because playing in this league for 22 years, we have seen one of the main hurdles or limitation is with having good umpires. And I said, this is at least a small step from my side to give it back to the league. The league itself was only maybe 15 teams and two divisions. And that's like 2002. Fast forward another 22 years, there are six divisions, 60 plus teams, maybe 25. MSCL also, they have now on the US cricket map, there are players coming out of the Mass State Cricket League. They play in minor league.
If you had the option to give the league one suggestion,
I would say grounds. Even like if we can maintain the current grounds, for example, grass, but even the outfield, if you maintain, that changes the game. US Masters, for me, allows you to still play competitive cricket. Instead of like if I'm playing against a 25-year-old team, you won't be able to compete on a day-to-day basis or every match. And the age is a great equalizer in the Masters.
Boston Gymkhana Sports Club का impact आप पे क्या रहा है as an individual?
I'm aging with the club. Our kids were born at the same time, and we have grown together. Cricket, I can still play, but I'm not going to get the same friends and family outside BGSC because the last 20 years, I think it's not going to come back. So I think that's the impact has made on me, on my immediate family. Once we have ladies involved, everything is very nicely well-oiled machine. Ladies make sure that, okay, are we going to have sufficient food? What are the items, right? So all those things. And then they are going to be also driving some of the other activities like how we can, do something better for the community. Ladies involved, once they are there, I think our backbone is very strong.
So I just want to know कि ऐसा कोई player था that, काफी bidding हुई auction वगैरह में?
From Oxford Knights, I think the answer is no. To make the auction a little bit more efficient, those three BGPL teams are going to get to pick one free player. Oxford Knights, we were number one, like to pick, and no-brainer, unanimous decision. We just picked Ashish Vadva, but I think I cannot put amount next to Ashish. I think he's great. He's priceless.
Priceless तो है, वो मैं मानता हूँ. मेरा एक advice है, right? If you want to, from a cricketing point of view, if you have one guy called Sean Higgins, I think you need to open with this guy, whether you're batting or bowling, and I don't think the opposition has any chance.
So we bidded for Sean.
Oh, nice.
Right. So
you bid it for Sean, but you got Ashish for free. I want to just put it out.
Yes. No.
So Ian Botham versus Kuldeep Yadav.
Ian Botham.
Matthew Hayden versus Michael Holding.
Michael Holding.
Umpire's call in DRS.
Unlucky.
हेलो दोस्तों, वेलकम टू द नाइट वॉचमैन पॉडकास्ट. दोस्तों, ये सेकंड एपिसोड है हमारी एक मिनी सीरीज का, जिसमें हम यूएसए क्रिकेट के बारे में फोकस्ड करेंगे, बात करेंगे ग्रास रूट लेवल पे यूएसए क्रिकेट कैसे फंक्शन होती है. कुछ ऐसे लोगों से बातचीत होगी जो जुड़े हैं क्लब लेवल पे, स्टेट लेवल पे एंड इवन यूएसए लेवल पे क्रिकेट से. तो ऐसे ही एक शख्सियत आज हमारे शो पे. मैं एक छोटा सा इंट्रोडक्शन दे देता हूं उनका. ये एक बड़े चालाक लेफ्ट आर्म स्पिनर है, मिडिल ऑर्डर बैट्समैन है. ये एक बॉस्टन जिमखाना वेटरन है. ये यूएसए के लिए खेल चुके इन मास्टर्स क्रिकेट. ये एक सर्टिफाइड स्टेट लेवल, मैसाचुसेट्स स्टेट लेवल के अंपायर है. वन ऑफ द फिटेस्ट पर्संस दैट आई नो. और इन सब के बाद he is also the chief R&D operations officer in a pharma company. I am happy to welcome Deepak Chadha to the podcast today. Deepak bhai, kya haal hai aapke?
Very good. Very nice to see you, Kamal, and to all the viewers.
Thank you, Deepak bhai. Deepak bhai, as I said, you wear so many hats, so it was a little difficult कि कहाँ से start करें. But हम MSCL से start करते हैं, right? You've been in Massachusetts for a long time. एक एक interesting चीज है that you are a certified umpire, right? In the Massachusetts league, umpiring is a thankless job. So उसकी तरफ आप कैसे गए? थोड़ा एक background देंगे?
Sure, absolutely. I think very good question. The primary reason for me to get certified and start doing umpiring for the official league games, this is going back almost 4 years now. The
Yeah.
primary reason, because playing in this league for 22 years, we have seen one of the main hurdles or limitation is with
Yeah.
having good umpires.
Yeah.
And every time the executive committee of MSCL, they were bringing this issue. And I gave some good thought. And I said, this is at least a small step from my side to give it back to the league. Because I'm playing in this league for more than 2 decades, as I said. And at least by helping out on the umpiring front, that was the main driver to give it back to the league. And league has done so much for the cricketers in the state of Massachusetts. At least, this small, a step will go a long way. So that was the main reason. And still, like I'm very much dialed into with the New England umpire committee. And I tell them that whenever they need any help on the umpiring front, I'm just a phone call away. So it's just giving back to the league. That's the primary driver.
Nice. Actually, the reason I started with this, कल मैं दिलीप भाई से बात कर रहा था, and he's the ex-president. So exactly what you said, right? Well, he said that was the biggest challenge. So, hats off to you because you are actively playing and doing this, right? So how do you balance this, Deepak?
Right. So again, I think it takes a lot of time, commitment, and also you have to make sure. I think the league has made it very clear, and it's helpful that I'm going to do umpiring for X BGSC games. So BGSC is Boston Gymkhana Sports Club, the club I'm affiliated with. So that helps out. That I'm going to only do umpiring of non-BGSC games, so there is no conflict. But answer to your question, of course, the games are only on Saturday, Sunday. If I'm doing umpiring, most likely the game is on Saturday or Sunday or vice versa. So pretty much, I think the weekend is taken. But that's what you sacrifice sometimes. So
it is commitment, but it's also giving back, like you said, right?
That's
great. Deepak bhai, you've been associated with Massachusetts Cricket League for 20 plus years, right? So you've seen the league evolve, right? I'm sure आज जितनी टीमें हैं 20 साल पहले उतनी नहीं थी. So आपके लेंस से, how have you seen the league grow from where it was when you started?
Absolutely. So I still remember my very first year, 2002, and playing for Gymkhana. We were in Division 2. At that time, when I joined, there were only 2 divisions. Just to give you an idea, or for the viewers, there were hardly like 16 teams max, or maybe even 14, 7-7 split. I played 2002. Our club won the finals against Boston Newcomers. Now it's called Guyana, formerly known as Boston Newcomer. So the league itself was only maybe 15 teams and 2 divisions. And that's like 2002. Fast forward another 22 years, there are 6 divisions, 60 plus teams, maybe 25 grounds and proper cricket grounds. Of course, like we don't have grass wickets just due to the New England weather, but astro wickets, matting wicket, 80% of them are astro wickets. So in terms of the magnitude of the league, I have seen exponential growth in 20 years, just in terms of the number of teams and divisions. But I think more so, MSCL also, they have now on the US cricket map. The reason is they participate in regional tournaments. There are players coming out of the Mass State Cricket League. They play in minor league. They have not made it to the major league so far, but I think minor league was a great step. So I think I've seen a lot of growth. And coming back to the umpires, couple of umpires from MSCL,
Hmm.
they are even certified to do umpiring in minor league games. They
Nice.
they get invited, they travel, and they do umpiring. So clearly from that aspect also, just not playing cricket, but having a name and recognition on the other aspects of even umpiring, I think league has really like grown and achieved. So
Nice. That's so good to hear. It's a interesting perspective, right? Because I started in 2014. There was still, we've grown even since 2014. But if you go back a little further, it just gives you a perspective. But then, Deepak bhai, if you had the option to give the league one suggestion that they would take, what would be that suggestion to
sure.
take it
So
forward?
yeah. So again, I think I can write like a whole laundry list of things, right? But we have to be practical. But I think
Yeah,
if I have to really name one, because somewhere you have to start, I
yeah,
would say grounds. And grounds, when I'm saying, of course, I said number of grounds, great. But in terms of the facilities, in terms of the playing conditions, I mean, uh, there's something, I know these are all town,
yeah,
grounds, but league should at least make a conscious effort to work with the club. So like BGSC Rantham, but at least they can talk to BGSC guys. We can talk to the town so that we can have better grounds. Because league answer is, oh, we cannot do anything. But I think that's where league can
Hmm.
really come together, and that's going to improve the cricket.
Bilkul.
Well, if the grounds are better, conditions are better, facilities are better, I think cricket will improve. More people will get attracted. So I think that's the first step. Of course, there are six more things, but I think that's where I think league has to start thinking.
Nice. But do you want, would you add, I know you said there is a lot more, right? But just one thing from my side, astroturf versus turf wickets, would that also be part of your suggestion? I know it's challenging with weather, but still.
Sure, I think that's what the real cricket is, and like for sure, like if time permits, we can talk about Masters later on.
Yeah.
Uh, but I'm also very practical, right?
Bilkul.
Even like if we can maintain the current grounds, for example, grass, right?
Yeah.
Because different cricket. I know wicket is very important, the pitch, right? Astro, matting, and the natural turf wicket. But
Yeah.
even the outfield, if you maintain,
Bilkul.
that changes the game, the how
The game.
the you play. The cricket being played in New England, I think it's more of a baseball style. Whereas when you start playing on a cricket ground, I
Ji.
think you play cricket. So I think for that reason, if we get grass wickets, nothing like that. But I think uh, it's difficult. It's more like it's not realistic based on the weather and also maintaining it. But on that note, I understand in Albany there are at least two grounds now, and the third
Okay.
ground is coming up with the grass wickets, and we are going to be playing on those wickets in July this year. So looking
Nice.
forward. So at least that's in New England area, like Albany. So
Bilkul. That's a nice segue to our next segment that I wanted to talk about, Masters cricket, right? So,
okay,
Deepak bhai, you've been playing and have been associated with Masters cricket. I think it's fairly new, but do you want to give a quick overview of what Masters cricket is? What are different things that you do?
sure, absolutely happy to. So before I start talking about the Masters Cricket USA, that's the official
Bilkul.
name of the
Yep.
organization.
Yep.
Uh, I think almost now 5 years back, myself and a couple of my friends, we went to India to play veterans cricket. And not to take too much of time, but I think that's a nice segue into answering your question.
Yep.
And the concept was Masters cricket or over 50. That was the age bracket. Over
Yeah.
50 uh, cricketers forming a team and representing in the World Cup of Masters over 50 in South Africa.
Correct.
There was no organization in the US. So myself and a couple of my friends, we went all the way to Mumbai there were tryouts, and then we were picked to play for uh, India over 50 veterans cricket team
Yep.
representing in Cape Town.
Yep.
The tournament started. We played two games. By the third game, the COVID happened. We all know the pandemic.
Yep.
Uh,
Yep.
the World Cup was cancelled. But as we were coming back, and that's what I would like to name the gentleman, uh, my good friend Parakananta, he started thinking that we made trip all the way to Mumbai, India. We came back, then we went to play in Cape Town. That's fine, but why don't we start something similar in US?
Yep.
And because every state they have leagues, and we are playing, for example, for more than 20 years here in the state of Massachusetts. So he really took the initiative, and Masters Cricket USA is his baby. And he started making hundreds of calls all over the country. And 4 years back, this Masters Cricket USA was formed. And the whole concept was, I think, the cap
Yeah.
what I have, it reads Masters Cricket, and the statement is second innings. So so now I'm trying to address your question, what it
Sure.
means to me or to all the other, masters cricketers. I think we still play very competitive cricket in the league, but at certain point, clearly you would like to play cricket in the same age bracket because there are
Sure.
a lot of reasons, right? And US Masters for me allows you to still play competitive cricket, and you can still go out and enjoy cricket instead of like if I'm playing against a 25-year-old team, average,
Yeah.
I'm saying, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Of course, like there will be ups and downs. We will still have fun, but it won't be competitive. I'm just
Correct.
honest, right? You
Correct.
can
Correct.
be a good bowler or batsman, but you won't be able to compete on a day-to-day basis or every match.
Sure.
So I think that's the underlying thinking that there has to be an equalizer, and the age is a great equalizer in the
Correct.
Masters. So
Correct.
I hope I
Yep.
answered your question. So
Absolutely. But Deepak bhai, what are some of the upcoming events for Masters?
sure. So just before I talk about the upcoming events, the the US Masters team just came back from New Zealand. We had a quad series just last month.
Okay.
So the team traveled to New Zealand. Australia was there. Two teams from New Zealand. So that was great experience. And the reason I'm saying these kind of international tournaments or tours also gives more experience to the Masters cricket in US,
Correct.
uh, because we can go overseas, we can play in different conditions, because World Cup is going to happen, of course. I think it's going to happen in February of 2025 in Sri Lanka. Very different
Sri
conditions
Lanka.
for
Yep.
the Indian continent, but last World Cup happened in South Africa. So upcoming tournaments, we are really gearing for the nationals, and nationals is going to happen in Houston in May.
Okay.
So clearly there is over 40 also, because that's another age bracket, and over 50. And then I mentioned earlier, in July we are going to have North Zone Regional in Albany, New York, and then there will be zonals based on the performance. They are going to pick 40 to 50 players. Then we will play zonal, most likely again in somewhere Dallas or Houston around
Sure.
fall. So I think there are like at least three tournaments lined up, for this year,
Plus a World Cup coming up in 2025.
early next year. Yes.
Nice. Nice. That's good to see. Like there is, it so many countries coming together and having this. But yeah, what would you like to see with Masters cricket going forward? Anything? I'm sure. Look, there's always scope for improvement. But वहाँ पे आपका क्या vision है?
Sure. So again, I think we always have this dilemma, and the reason I'm saying dilemma, because this is still self-funded
बिल्कुल.
organization. It's a non-profit, self-funded. I mean, I'm saying self-funded. If suppose we are having a tournament, say in May, so if I'm playing on a team, I have to bear my own expenses,
बिल्कुल.
right? So the dilemma comes. when you're playing, say, national tournament, of course, you can still manage. You
Sure.
can you can have the composition of the team. You can have some good cricketers. You can play with your friends. But when you are playing for the country, like you
Yeah.
are representing Masters Cricket USA, now it's cricket. It's competitive. However, the dilemma is still, because when you're putting a, say, team of 15 players, it's self-funded. I think that's the greatest challenge, because if I'm on the team, I'm just
Yeah.
saying, it's human nature. I
Sure.
just expect to play, right? Because I'm spending money. So I
Yeah.
think Masters Cricket USA is working on, if there is somewhere middle ground, and I
Correct.
think we know the answer is the sponsors, right? So if
Sure.
suppose we can bring sponsors in, I think that will take care. Then it's more like semi-pro, right?
Sure.
Uh, so I think that's the challenge, if you ask me, uh, because it's very hard to be in two boats.
Yeah.
And I think we are learning, and
Sure.
sponsor is one solution, and also I think just clarity of thought and direction from each member, that if you're playing for the country, you are picked. I think you just go with what's the best for the team. So
Absolutely.
yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It makes a lot of sense. You थोड़ा वो प्रेशर भी अगर कम हो जाता है, फाइनेंशियल हो या कोई भी हो, राइट? एटलीस्ट यू नो यू विल बी टेकन केयर and then you can concentrate, because you're right, ultimately you're representing USA, your country, right?
Yeah.
So makes a lot of sense, Deepak bhai. Deepak bhai, we'll come back home, we'll come back to Boston Gymkhana Sports Club, right? You've been playing for the club for 22 years. You are a veteran. W-
Mhm.
What's Boston Gymkhana Sports Club का impact आप पे क्या रहा है as an individual?
Sure. So I think BGSC. I think very correctly you said it's a sports club, and again, I think I just want to make it very clear. BGSC stands for Boston Gymkhana Sports Club. On
जी,
purpose, we never introduced the letter C, Cricket Club. So again, I think what it means to me, or impact. Of course, I think I enjoyed playing for more than 2 decades, right? And I
yeah,
played majority of my cricket in Division One, and as we were growing as a club
sure,
and number of divisions, right? We always made the room for young blood and youngsters, and also better cricketers, right, to start playing in higher division. So from a cricketing aspect, I think I enjoyed, and again, somewhere you start knowing your what do you call strength, or your
बिल्कुल,
forte, right? And I started mainly as an all-rounder, but I can, if you ask me, for last 5-7 years, I'm very focused on my bowling, because I know that's where I add value. So
बिल्कुल,
again, I think BGSC allowed me, because I play a different role now in the team I play, versus 10 years back I was playing. So my cricket aspect, great experience, great journey, a lot of ups and downs, but I think that's all good. But real impact on me,
जी,
uh, because I think I'm aging with the club. So because flashback 22 years, I was in early 30s, or just 30. Yeah, 30 to be precise, 31. So really, I think I've made some great friends, and those friends are more as family. And again, it's just
बिल्कुल,
not just for the sake of it. I'm saying our kids were born at the same time, and we have grown together. So I think
बिल्कुल,
that's very, like, you cannot put any value on that.
बिल्कुल,
And there's a lot of cricket. Uh, Sometimes you feel that, oh, you're not really aligned with the thought process. It happens even within your team or club. But
sure,
I think I'm not going to give up that, because I think cricket I can still play, but I'm not going to get the same friends and family outside BGSC, because the last 20 years I think it's not going to come back. So I think that's the impact has made on me, on my immediate family, on my kid, and I think I expect the same thing from some of my other friends, because I think we are all in this together. So I think that's the major impact, and I just can't leave it for anything.
Bilkul. No, I agree. And you've been with the club for 22 years. I've played for the club for 6 years, right? I've moved to Dallas, but I'm still in touch. I'm still talking to, I'm still talk to people.
Yeah.
I've made good friends. So I can totally see where you're coming from. Deepak bhai, so there's a big event that is coming up in the club, Boston Gymkhana Premier League, which is going to happen over the next few weekends. So let's maybe talk about that. I'll give a quick introduction, right? Like there was actually a exciting auction process that happened. There are 6 teams, 3 BGSC teams, 3 teams outside,
Correct.
and then top 4 teams will play semifinals and then finals.
Right.
I am you are part of Oxford Knights, and just to kal Dilip bhai se baat kar raha tha, I just told him that my first game was in 2015. I played my first match was Oxford Knights. So I want to just tell you that I am going to support you all the way in
Here we go.
Oxford Knights.
Nice.
uh, but I'm just looking at the structure, right? एक interesting चीज है दीपक भाई, like I am looking, like there are owners. The owner of Oxford Knight is Binu ji, right? The mentor is Satya bhai. The director of cricket is Shruti, and obviously there is the whole squad. So
Sure.
we've even brought in our the ladies of the club into BGPL. So do you want to just talk about that a little bit?
Sure. So I think the primary reason of getting the ladies involved, I think that's the women power, right? And when we say women power, I think it's just not just for sake of it. Uh,
Yeah.
the underlying reason for this, once we have ladies involved, and ladies can be like their spouses or even daughters or whatever, your significant
Sure.
other. Let's put it this way.
Sure. Yeah.
Uh, Once they are involved in the club activities, event, everything is very nicely well-oiled machine.
True.
Because I think, because if suppose I want to participate in BGPL or I want to play cricket, and if my wife, she is not involved, right? I'm not saying like she has to play cricket and spend
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
8 hours, but if she's not involved with the club, and BGPL is a very good example, she will be disconnected. She won't have the same bond. So I think that's one of the primary reason, having for example, Binu as the owner of Oxford Knights, and having Shalini as owner of Spartans, and then I think Deepika is owner of
Yeah.
uh, uh,
Avengers.
so I think because we want them to get involved, and just not for the name tag, and
Bilkul.
they are really bringing the guys together, making sure there are some social events to be planned.
Yeah.
They want to make sure that, okay, cricket, yes, there are cricketers, right? Captain, vice captain, they can look about the roster, but there are a lot of other things. I mentioned about social event, but every game, as Kamal, you have played for a number of years, we always have food.
Yes.
After the game, we are going to sit down, have the guest, have the food, and we are going to have a good time. So ladies make sure that, okay, are we going to have sufficient food? What are the items, right? So all those things, and then they are going to be also driving some of the other activities, like how we can do something better for the community, right? Because I
Bilkul.
can only see this much, because
Yep.
we all have our focus, right? But
Yep.
when we involved the our better halves, I think they might be thinking something which I have no idea. So I think
Bilkul.
that's the main reason, and I think having ladies involved, once they are there, I think our backbone is very strong. As soon as we don't have their support, I've seen over the years during the season, the guys said, "Oh, something is not working out at home for any reason." But if the spouse is dialed in, never happens. So yeah. So,
Yep.
anyways. you know, that's my thinking on this. So
No, it's great, right, to have the ladies involved. And I was, when I first saw it, I was like, that's really nice, because I mean, we've when I was there, we've even had like uh cricket matches for the ladies. We've tried to do a lot of things, and we continue to do that. So this is just an extension of what we've been doing, right, over years as a club. That's great. Deepak bhai, we talked about auction.
yeah,
So I just want to know कि ऐसा कोई player था that काफी bidding हुई auction वगैरह में?
sure. So I think bidding was really very much focused because we have a pool of new players or rookies.
Yeah,
They are all uncapped.
yeah.
They have not been assigned to any of the BGSC team. We have 6 teams. I think I was very, very keen and interested for that part of auction. And
Okay.
the best part was all the pool of new players are equally divided. So, answer to your question, whether there was any particular individuals or BGSC players they went for high stakes from Oxford Knights, I think the answer is no. The reason is we made a rule kind of that to make the auction a little bit more efficient for every round. For example, whether it's A, B, C, D, whatever our teams are, every those three BGPL teams are going to get to pick one free player. Like we don't have to bid, but that only based on the draw. So we were lucky when it came to Team E, and Team E former captain Ashish Vadva. I think he's a very good friend of yours. Oxford Knights, we were number one, like to pick, and no brainer, unanimous decision. We just picked Ashish Vadva. So clearly, you asked like, okay, have we spent hefty dollars against any player? The answer is no. But I think I cannot put amount next to Ashish. I think he's great. He's priceless, and I think he adds a lot of value. So I think we were very lucky to have him on our roster.
प्राइसलेस तो है, वो मैं मानता हूँ, ठीक है, बट फ्री
Priceless.
में मिला आपको, फ्री में मिला आपको, ये बिडिंग में भी नहीं लिया आपने इसको, क्या आशीष, कोई बात नहीं, बढ़िया है. बट आई दीपक भाई, आई टोल्ड यू लाइक माय लॉयल्टी स्टेज विद ऑक्सफोर्ड नाइट फॉर रीजंस, राइट? आई एम जस्ट लुकिंग एट योर टीम. मेरा एक एडवाइस है, right?
Huh.
If you want to, from a cricketing point of view, if you want to win the match, whether you are batting first, bowling first, you have one guy called Sean Higgins. I think you
Mm.
need to open with this guy, whether you're batting or bowling, and I don't think the opposition has any chance. So that's just my 2 cents,
Yeah.
for the games. But Sean is great. He's a
Yeah.
good friend of mine. So
Very good. Very good. So again, I think you mentioned about Sean. So we bidded for Sean.
oh, nice.
Right. So
So
we
you
spent
make so you bid it for Sean, but you got Ashish for free. I want to just put it out.
yes, no. That's good clarification. We bid it. We spend some dollars, and primary reason for me to have Sean on Oxford Knight roster, he makes best baby back ribs.
Ah,
And he has shared the recipe with me. You can't beat those ribs the way he makes, and he feels very proud. And again, I think he's a great club guy. And again, I think whatever he can do on the cricket field, that's fine. But I think he really adds more than just cricket. So
yeah. Oh, I agree. And he's fun to be around. I know that.
yeah,
I spent time with him. I will move on.
yeah.
IPL is on. IPL चल रही है. You cannot ignore the beast, right? Are you supporting any team, or are you a freelancer?
Right. So I think I'm more of a freelancer. Again, I really I cannot like name one team or maybe a couple of teams. I just enjoy good cricket, especially IPL. Every game is great matchup. So I think I don't have really my favorite team, or maybe like say my hometown in India is New Delhi, so Delhi capital. Not really. Of course, if Delhi Capital is playing, I'm going to watch the game, if
Absolutely.
time permits.
Yeah.
But I just want to have a good game. So
Yeah. Good thought process. I am from Mumbai, but I fully support MI. They're not doing well. I am not feeling good about that. But anyways, we'll
yes,
not get into that. But Deepak bhai, 270. There are the दो matches में दो सत्तर हो गए.
yeah,
What's your thought on such high scoring matches?
sure. So number of factors, right?
Hmm.
First of all, I think we have seen game after game and year after year in IPL or even T20. I think fearless approach. So
Huh.
that's just on the approach, right? I know it's
Bilkul.
easy said than done. That yes, like go just express yourself, play, but it also takes time. So now where we are in 24, a guy walks in and ball one, if the ball is in his zone, and the zone can be, it's
Yeah.
very very subjective, right? For you something will be different, for me something different. They just play fearless cricket. So that's on the approach. So normally average is now around 180, 85
Yeah.
average, right?
Yeah.
It's not even par. You score 200 like today. I know
Yeah.
this.
Aaj ki match.
In
Yeah. Yeah.
they won chasing 199. So
Yeah.
that's one thing. But I think those two games, the other main reason is belter of the wicket. So I
Bilkul.
think it's so tailor-made for batting, right? There is nothing, no juice in the wicket, or even some uncertainty, right? So
Bilkul.
batsmen, couple of balls, and they are professionals, right? So
Yeah.
once you see
True.
there is no movement, no lateral movement, forget about any like swing and all, then it's a net practice for them. And again, they just hit through the line. So I think combination of both things for sure, approach and then the wicket, and then I think a lot of practice. It looks very easy on TV, right? But I think these guys
It's
must be putting lots and lots of hard work to play those shots. So
बिल्कुल बिल्कुल so interesting you say all this right दो बाउंसर का रूल जो नया है which has been introduced in 2024 how does that factor in with such high scoring games and do you think that is a good idea
yeah,
for T20 cricket?
sure. So I will answer your second question. I think it's a great idea.
Yeah.
Because clearly T20 is a better game,
Yep.
totally batting dominant, right? So I
Yep.
think it's a very very good change. At
Yeah.
least they are giving something to the bowler
The bowler.
or
Yeah.
the fielding team captain to think
Yeah.
about, right? So I think that's a good change because
बिल्कुल
it brings a little bit of doubt in mind of the batter.
बिल्कुल
Now, answer to your question, like, okay, but still, I think scores are going more and more and more, right? The reason is again execution, right?
बिल्कुल
I think it all comes down to, like the rules are the same, I mean, for both teams, but one team, if they can execute better, even using those two bouncers in a given over, I think they will do better. So I think just having two bouncers, but if you are bowling, short and wide and this and that, I think it's not going to help. So, but yes, in nutshell, two bouncers gives the bowler that much of,
something yeah
yes. So
बिल्कुल बिल्कुल no I agree it is a great rule कुछ तो है I mean and we've seen some bowlers actually use it against some really good batsmen ऐसा नहीं है कि we've seen executions right again to your point the margins are so small in this
right.
game थोड़ा भी इधर 19-20 होता है you will go for runs but at least there is something so I think I agree it's a great
Mhm.
initiative
Right.
um, we'll quickly move on, Deepak bhai, to our last segment. We'll do a quick, rapid fire. So I'll
Good.
ask you a bunch of questions and whatever comes to your mind, first thing that comes to your mind. So we'll quickly start. Do you think RCB is going to win IPL 2024?
I would like to see Virat Kohli winning, but it's not going to happen.
Okay. What is the best batting lineup in IPL 2024?
Uh, I will go with the Kolkata Knight Riders, KKR.
Kolkata Knight Riders. Okay. Best bowling lineup in IPL 2024?
I will go with Lucknow Super Giants.
Lucknow Super Giants. Okay, so I think I know the answer to the next one, but I'll ask it. The uncapped Indian player who's caught your eye in IPL 2024.
Yeah. So I think you know my answer, Mayank Yadav, right?
Any upcoming series, Deepak Bhai, that you're looking forward to, whether it's
Sure.
international or league?
Sure. So the very next one, the T20 World Cup, right? I think US and West Indies, they are co-hosting.
Yeah,
Clearly, I think, I'm looking forward to. There will be
yeah,
few games, I think, in New York also. I'm not sure I will be going to watch live, but that's an event. I think IPL is a very good curtain raiser for
yeah.
that. So T20 World Cup. And then I really keen to see India touring Australia.
Oh yes, oh
So I
yes.
think that will
That'll
be
be
a good
fun.
test. Composition has changed, as we all know. Pujaras and Rahanes are not in,
Yeah,
and whether they are going to rely on the fresh, blood, or they might be again going a little bit, backwards. But I hope India will move forward from here in Test cricket. So
nice, nice. Uh, Deepak bhai, I'll give you a couple of combinations, right? A bowler and a batsman.
sure,
Imagine ये T20 में खेल रहे हैं. Who will have the upper hand, right? So I'll give you a few options. You pick one. So Ian Botham versus Kuldeep Yadav.
Ian Botham,
Ian Botham. Matthew Hayden versus Michael Holding.
Michael Holding,
Lance Klusner, the batsman, versus Kapil Dev, the bowler.
Kapil Dev,
Rohit Sharma versus Jeff Thompson.
Rohit Sharma.
All right. Next set is I'll tell you a name or a word. What first thing that comes to your mind, right? Baseball.
Fearless,
Umpire's call. In DRS.
unlucky,
Test cricket.
pinnacle of cricket,
ODI cricket.
great balance of cricket,
T20.
entertainment.
Last but not the least, BGSC.
We also play cricket.
Perfect. That is it, Deepak bhai. But before we wrap up, we've talked about BGPL. What's your message for the other 5 teams that are participating in BGPL?
Sure. So first, I will talk about the three BGSC team:
Yeah,
Spartans, Avengers, and Oxford Knights. I think we we were having this BGPL starting from 2011, if I'm not mistaken. Our
yeah,
last BGPL was in 2018. Clearly, there were various reasons, and then last couple of years post COVID also, it was
sure.
not feasible. So I think my first message is for these three BGSC teams that hey, we have to make this a successful event. And I know there's a lot of work being done,
Yeah,
but I think this is our opportunity, and especially it's hard after almost 5 years, to go back to the drawing board. But again, we have very good, cast of characters and some great leaders. So I think that's the first message. Let's come together. Let's make this fun and more successful event for the club, because I think that's the foundation, and the cricket will follow.
correct.
Overall message, I think even we have three visiting teams: Challengers Cricket Club, and then NECC, and
Grantham Eagles.
Eagles. I think for
Yep.
message for them is, I think this is a great tournament. They will have a lot of fun. Uh, Also, I think this will give them good practice, because MSCL season is going to start last weekend in April. That's a
Yep.
great platform for them to play some good competitive cricket. And lastly, I think for all 6 teams, play hard, play fair, have fun, right? And I think that's the message. So,
Nice, nice. That's a wrap, Deepak bhai. I thank you for your time. I hope you enjoyed the conversation as much as I did.
oh,
And again, thank you.
very good, Kamal. All right, take care. Bye
Thank
bye.
you.